About the URL.
Good evening, everyone. This date's December 12, 2024. Thank you for coming to the City of Mableton regular meeting. It is 6:48. Would like to now call the meeting to order. With that, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Owens.
Present.
Councilmember Ron Davis from District 1.
Present.
Councilmember Damien Oladapo from District 2.
Present.
Councilmember Keisha Jeffcoat of District 3.
Present.
Councilmember Patricia Alka, District 4.
Present.
Councilmember TJ Ferguson of District 5. Is he present electronically? I heard he may be on Zoom. I have not been confirmed.
He was.
Is he on in the back? He's present through Zoom, but I think they're having technical difficulties. The mayor can let us know later.
Thank you, ma'am.
Councilmember Deborah Herndon, District 6.
Present.
Thank you. Quorum present.
Thank you, ma'am, for the acknowledgement of the quorum. Councilman Davis, would you lead us in an invocation, please, sir?
Yes, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you, God. We thank you for your grace and mercy, Lord. We just pray right now that you continue to be with us, guide us as we guide this city to the place that you would have it to be, Father God. Let us operate in unity and integrity, Father God. Let all of our residents be just engaged and blessed, Father God, by all that we do. We thank you. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager, if you could, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ladies and gentlemen, stand if you can.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You can scoot over if you want. You can scoot over if you want to join the group.
All right, we're going to move on to item 4. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been provided a copy of the agenda. I do want to make note of an agenda item that I would like to have changed. And that will be moving one item, 10D, and moving that item to 12J, and then we'll discuss that item 12J as part of our new business. So I'd like to entertain a motion for that.
Mayor, can we also eliminate item 12C?
12C?
It's a duplication from the prior meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Okay. I make a motion to amend the agenda to include the removal of item 10C and movement of 10D to the new business section, making it 12J.
I second.
Hold, it's 12C.
12C.
12C and 10D.
Okay, so we're moving 12C to
Axing 12C. That's 12C is getting...
12C. Oh, okay. Let's see. All right, I make a motion to amend the agenda to include the movement of item 10D from consent agenda to new business and elimination of 12C.
I second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and duly seconded. All those are in favor of amending the agenda as made by Councilman Oladapo, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. We will move forward now, going straight down to item 8.
Can you confirm, Mr. Ferguson, since he's electronic, nobody's seeing him or knowing? I'm sure he was a yes, but...
Yeah, that's...
I mean, is there any way for us to even to see his,
audibly hear him or see him? He's on this.
Yeah.
So he said something. He said aye?
Say yes. Okay. We'll just need to watch that through the meeting.
Okay.
Text if he has an opposition and everything.
noted in the record.
Sure, yeah. Did you have something else, Madam Clerk? Okay, thank you. All right, so we do have several appointments, which is, first of all, is item 8A, which is appointment of Dr. Mike Fite to the Cobb Board of Public Health. It says here Cobb Douglas County Board of Health. By nature of Mableton being the largest city in Cobb County, we're actually designated 2 spots on the Cobb Douglas County Board of Public Health. Gosh, speaking here. One of those roles are occupied by myself, which I've had for over a year now. And the second one, I did not initially replace. There was an existing board member.
Something like what?
We're not voting yet, Councilman. There was an existing board member that had been in place that was put in by Mayor Steve Tumlin when he was on the board. I did not make that replacement just for continuity and allowed him to stay on the board for this past year. But going into this year, we're going into 2025, that board member was resigning off the board and allowing room for Mableton to make way for their own board member. According to the Cobb County Board of Commissioners, their rules, it basically says that the largest city gets to appoint an additional person to that board. And so Dr. Mike Fite is my nominee to that. All the council members, you guys have been provided information to him. He's a Army veteran, long-term member of the community, actually does live in Mableton in District 4, and he is a community advocate in a lot of ways around public health and is a public physician. So with that said, I know he could not be here tonight, but I would like to entertain a motion to approve him as my official nominee for the Board of Cobb and Douglas Board of Health.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Dr. Mike Fite as the appointment to the Board of Cobb and Douglas County Public Health.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Motion been made and duly seconded. All those in favor of appointing Dr. Mike Fite to the Cobb Douglas Board of Health, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Thank you. The next appointment is to the Mableton Development Authority. As many of you know, Mableton Development Authority was the South Cobb Redevelopment Authority, has thus been transformed into the Mableton Development Authority. Along with that, the current board members that are on that board will stay. They did not change because of the transformation of that organization through the state law. But as spots become available, we have the duty to replace those members. And this is one that's been open for quite some time. And my nominee for that is Mr. Corey Ferguson, of no relation to our board member, Mr. TJ Ferguson. Corey Ferguson is a principal and VP at T. Dallas Smith, which is one of the larger commercial real estate agents or agencies in Southeast United States, shall I say. Corey Ferguson is a long-standing resident of Mableton. He has a couple of kids that are in our local school, Harmony Clay Leland and Betty Gray. He is a resident of District 4 as well, as a matter of fact. And again, he currently serves as a principal at T. Dallas, and I think his skills are useful as a commercial real estate developer, being part of our Mableton Development Authority. So with that said, Mr. Ferguson is my nominee, and at this point in time, I would like to entertain a motion to appoint Mr. Corey Ferguson to our Mableton Development Authority.
I'll make a motion to appoint Corey Ferguson to the Mableton Development Authority.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and duly seconded. Anyone have any comments about Mr. Ferguson or questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of appointment of Corey Ferguson to the Mableton Development Authority, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. Thank you for that. Moving us on to 8C, which is appointment of the Mableton, City of Mableton directors. Council, as you're aware, according to our charter, when it comes to appointed officers of the city and directors, i.e. department heads, it is the process is that myself, the mayor, has a nomination that is made, and then it is up to the council to confirm that nomination. We go a step further within the city in that we go take directors through a process, both through a technical panel as well as a culture and fit panel as well. At, I think, this point in time tonight, we only have one appointment to be made. That is our Director of Code Enforcement. Mr. Alejandro Farrell is right here in front of us. For those of you, council, you were here on Monday, and he actually spoke, gave some time, so I don't know it's necessary at this point in time for him to address us at this point in time, but I'd like to go ahead and open the floor for a motion to appoint Mr. Alejandro Farrell as our inaugural Code Enforcement Director.
I'd like to go for it.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion for Alejandro Farrell to be appointed as Director of Code Enforcement.
I second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of confirming the nomination for Alejandro Farrell to be our inaugural Code Enforcement Director for the City of Mableton, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, ayes have it. Congratulations, Mr. Farrell. You are now our inaugural Code Enforcement Director. So at this point in time, if you would like to address the podium and say a word or two, you may. And make sure you give everybody your phone number, too.
City cell first.
Okay, city cell first. Fair enough.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alejandro Farrell. I'm glad to be here, meeting with the mayor, city council, and other elected officials, city manager as well over the last month. Just to give you a little brief history, I've been in code enforcement almost 20 years in Metro Atlanta, East Point, Sandy Springs. I actually started the city of Stonecrest, which was a new city, in 2017 from the same concept, new city forum. I love code enforcement, and I enjoy it, which was just interesting because it's just so, seeing the community change over time. As I explained to the mayor and council on Monday evening, the city did not get like this overnight. It will take time to change. I understand we want to see things move very quickly, but it is a process. So just bear with me, and as we bring in new staff and the city as well, understand that we hear your concerns, and I will address your concerns. I will let you know if it's a code violation or not, because I'm that type of person, like, hey, that's really not a code violation. If there's something in question, that's when I refer back to the city manager's office, as well as, of course, our legal team and of course, our legislatures here to say, hey, we need to look at our ordinances to make sure that, one, we want your quality of life to improve, your property values to improve, whether you stay in your home for, forever, or you decide to, to sell it at some point. And I can attest that every place I've been, property values have increased, from programs that we put in place to the efforts of code enforcement. So just bear with us, but I promise you we will definitely change the city, looking at making sure the businesses are up to code from an aesthetic standpoint, as well as business licenses, making sure that our properties, and we understand some things may have been going on for extended periods of time in the city. And in many cases, the ordinances are the same that the county has already administered. It's just that the county was so large they couldn't enforce everything. So just like I tell people, you're on 285 and police officers didn't catch you speeding, we came and caught you, let's have a conversation, we'll talk about it, see what we can do to get you into compliance with the city code. That's what we try to do, because that's what we want you to do. We want you to be proud of your city, proud of your property. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. You made a bold statement there, or at least historical aspect, that every city you've been in, the home values have increased. can only assume you're expecting the same from Mableton. Thank you for that, sir. All right, with that being said, we're going to move into public comment. Madam Clerk, do you have any public comment cards? Thank you.
Yes, we have several here today who would wish to speak. The first one is Leroy Trey Hutchins, and he'll be giving an update on the schools.
Good afternoon, Council. Good afternoon, Mableton, or good evening, rather. I will be quick. We anticipate a couple of retirements already in District 3, which is Mableton, Austell, and Powder Springs. We already have 3 retirements from principals, mid-year retirements, so they're not waiting out the entire year. So we do have 3. One of them is in Mableton, and as of January 1st, the Clay Harmony Leland Elementary School will have a new principal. Her name is Ms. Gina McLean. And so we will be reaching out and doing some engagement, things of that nature, so you guys can meet our new principal as well. But I do want to highlight that Betty Gray Middle School is now a Cobb STEM certified school. That is exciting, yeah. As you may recall, Dr. McGee said 2 years ago, we're going to be STEM certified in 2 years, and she made good on it. We're still waiting on Lindley, and so we're going to continue to press and work with them to make sure they get there. Right outside the city is Russell Elementary, and the reason why I'm bringing Russell up because it is one of the schools that's on our list, and we'll talk about the list in a minute, but they are also Cobb STEM certified. Lindley is ranked number 5 out of 10 Title I middle schools here in Cobb County. That is a big jump. Now, you may say, well, that's middle, but for Lindley Middle School, Lindley Middle School is always ranked number 2 out of 10, and so to be 5 out of 10, they are improving. Their college career readiness scores are improving, which means Public High School is going to be improving, and so we're excited about that growth. The Public High School had a partnership brunch on this week. Much of City Council showed up, and our city team showed up, and we appreciate you guys sharing with Public High School and how we can be better partners with Public High School, because our community schools are only as good as the community around it, and so to have that type of engagement, we are really excited. And with that being said, I'm excited about 4P. I may be overstepping, but 4P Mableton is coming in January, and we're excited about the 4P Mableton. We have heard our city manager talk about it. I have been a part of that collaborative group in the city of Powder Springs, and we're excited to have 4P Mableton coming up in 2025. Lastly, the comp plan event on yesterday, we are excited. That it was just a great turnout. There was a lot of great engagement, and we're really excited about it. I do want to address one of the recurring themes of the evening as it relates to education, and we are aware that the Governor's Office of Student Achievement released a list of the lowest 25% of failing schools in the state of Georgia, and Cobb County has 8 of those schools. Of those 8 schools, 3 of them are in Mableton, and so we do want to make sure, let you know that we are aware, have been aware, have already started working on plans to improve and make some achievements in regards to that, but the goal is just not to get off the list. The goal is to make sure that we have the right process in place to address the needs of that community. Riverside and City View being the 2 that are right next to each other, right there on I'm sorry, what is the name of the road? South Gordon, thank you. And we also have Mableton Elementary, which is in downtown Mableton. And so, and great things are happening at all 3 of those schools, but test scores show a different metric, and there's a lot of different reasons why. So, Board Member Becky Saylor and I will be hosting a town hall in January along with our district staff to come to Mableton to talk to us about what does that look like for us, and what does it look like for those particular schools, and what are the plans that we have to put in place to help improve not just academics in those 3 particular schools, but what that score, being in the lowest 25%, really means, and our demographics and how it plays into that. And so a plan of action will come not just from the school district, but from your board members in regards to how our community can better help our schools to see some higher achievements. And so that is all I have. Thank you.
It's been a gong you.
I'm sorry?
We were getting ready to gong you.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchins.
Aubrey Thompson, and after Aubrey is Sam Cobb. And just a reminder, it's a 3-minute time limit, and mayor and council don't usually answer questions because they have to get on to their businesses. But we welcome you to speak.
Can you speak? You want to share? You want to share? Oh, there you go. Come over here.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
That's your size.
Hello everyone, my name is Aubrey Thompson. I am a Mableton resident in the 3rd grade. When I walk around, I see trash on the streets and sidewalks. In school, we talk about recycling and the importance of keeping our communities clean. Recycling is important because if we don't, it will cause pollution, which is bad for our health. I would like to collaborate with the City of Mableton and its residents to make a plan to help people throw their trash and recycling in the proper containers. Thank you for supporting Mableton. Bye for now.
Yeah, she's hired.
The code enforcement, Mr. Mayor, our code enforcement officer wants to sign the young lady up for...
She's too young. Her mother though might have just signed up for a volunteer role that she didn't know she was...
After Sam Cobb, we have Brandeis Thompson.
All right. That's impossible to follow that. I was even inspired, but I'll be brief. My name's Sam Colbeth. I am the current chairman, recently re-elected chairman of the Austell Community Task Force. Just to reiterate, our mission is to identify and disseminate information around about 5 key tenets, which include community development, educational development, family and youth development, justice for all, and partnership development. I think I got everything, and I keep missing one every time I try to speak. But I just wanted to basically just tell everyone, due to a lot of tremendous volunteers, we were able to do our first toy distribution in partnership with Empty Stocking Fund this past weekend. We were able to serve about 250 families, which probably was about the equivalent of about maybe 600 or 700 children, and we're hoping to do just as good, but even better, because we're having our big event that's taking place on Saturday, December 21st at between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. We'd love everyone to come out just to kind of celebrate. Unfortunately, it's kind of hard to try to get toys now because, as you know, that's a hot commodity and everything, but we'd love to have folks to come out support as they can. And, good evening, Mableton and Council. I keep forgetting that. But yeah, so just wanted to give those little updates and everything like that. And just to let everybody know, we do meet on the first Monday of every month at the South Cobb Recreation Center, and we do have a hybrid option, and that's going to take place on the first Monday of every month, like clockwork, unless something goes drastically wrong. Hope to see y'all there. Thank you.
Thank you. And can we give newly re-elected Sam Colworth a round of applause? Congratulations on your re-election, sir.
Brandeis Thompson, and after her is Joe Layman.
I
I think I need a chair too. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Brandis Thompson. I am a Mableton resident and the Education Committee Chairman of the Mableton Improvement Coalition. I have come to give you an update on the bus depot that is proposed for 440 Veterans Memorial. We do have almost 700 signatures on our petition, and we have heard that there is a meeting scheduled with our mayor and one of the leadership of the Board of Education. So we are excited to hear the outcomes, hopefully positive, from that meeting. However, we still, what we have asked of the Board of Education is clarity and transparency on their plans. And so again, we would love to have more signatures on our petition, which you can find on mableton.org. And the Mableton Improvement Coalition will continue to stand with the betterment of our community. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Following Joe Lehman is Denny Wilson.
Good evening, Council. Mableton. My name is Joe Lehman, Regional Manager for the South Cobb region of the Cobb County Public Library System, and I live in District 1. The last time I was here, I think I was begging for help for the book sale, fall book sale. Well, I'd like to say that we raised over $66,000 at that book sale. And I don't know how many of you know that our beloved director is retiring. Helen Poirier is retiring this year, and we do have a new director, Keith Schulman. He started December 2nd. But you may not know that Helen got her start with the library system right here at the South Cobb Regional Library, and she's been in the system for 18 years. This year, in 2025, the AARP Foundation Tax Aid will aid with tax preparation, and this will be held on Mondays at the South Cobb Regional Library. This is the first time in since we've been open, that they've come to the South Cobb Regional Library. And that will begin on February 3rd. We have again been awarded the Primetime Grant, and I think last year I came to you begging for, I don't know if we begged for money, but we invited you to come. Now this is not open to the general public, but we do invite you to come see what we do. Because the Primetime is a unique 6-week humanities-based program, is designed specifically for underserved families with children ages 6 through 8. The program is intended to help economically and educated vulnerable families bond around the act of reading and talking about books. Families take part at a meal at the beginning of the program, and they also receive a full set of books to take home to start their own family library. This statewide family literacy program with national affiliates create a precondition for a future in learning by empowering parents to help their children enjoy reading and improve their reading abilities. Through our participation, the Cobb County Public Library has reached 135 families and more than 250 children. And we hope that, and we're looking forward to bringing this fun and enriching program to even more of South Cobb in 2025. So I'm coming to you early. It begins February 27th, and it will be on a Thursday evening. And also, we may need your support, but we do invite you to come and see what we do at the library to help children and literacy in the South Cobb area. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson?
Denny Wilson, and she's our last one.
Good evening. I've got a few things to discuss tonight. One of them being the traffic on Mableton Parkway. Today I was trying to get home, and the traffic on Mableton Parkway was from Veterans Memorial all the way back to South Gordon. 2 lanes of traffic, completely full. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up that there's continuous building going on Mableton Parkway, so what are we going to do with all of this traffic? South Gordon is only 2 lanes, 1 going, 1 coming. Mableton Parkway is 4 lanes. You got people riding the middle lane because they're trying to get ahead of everybody else. So just so you know, with our city forming as fastly as it is, we got to come up with a traffic plan, because if we don't, there's going to be a lot of problems. And number 2, and Mr. Code Enforcement, I've got a list for you. I've got a long list for you. As you guys venture down the road of services and service fees, I need you guys to keep this in mind. Yesterday, I attended the Board of Commissioners meeting. There's a 2.5% increase in water rate, is what they proposed yesterday. They voted on 4-1, it passed. There's a 3.5% on sewer wastewater rate increase. There's a 3.5% increase in water and wastewater commodity. This year alone, the water bill was raised by 10%. They added a $1 increase in the service delivery fee. So I sent an email to the water director to say, hey, how many customers does Cobb County Water have? And she said 250,000. So that's 250,000 additional dollars that they're getting from that $1 increase. It was increased from $1 to $2 now, the service delivery fee that they charge us for water. Their rationale was this heavy increase, which is a 6-year increase, January the 1st of every year, your water bill will increase by this amount. And they're saying this had to happen because Marietta Water, who they get their water from, increased their rate, so this rate is going to be passed on to the taxpayers. So that's why I'm alerting you guys tonight that this was voted on yesterday, it passed, and as you go through and you set fees for the city, remember that our water is continuously going up, not coming down. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Madam Clerk, I think that concludes our public comment.
No more.
Thank you. With that, we'll close public comment and move on with our approved agenda. So item 10 is our consent agenda, which there's 3 items on the consent agenda, all 3 of those containing minutes from previous regular meetings and work sessions. So with that, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. It's been moved and duly seconded. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you. And we're going to move on to our new business for this evening. The first item for new business is consideration and approval of a resolution approving the purchasing of 3 fleet vehicles, which are trucks from Wade Ford for the Code Enforcement Department, for amount not to exceed $175,000. That's brought forward by Project Manager Xavier Ross. At this point in time, we moved.
I got you.
So the agenda had an amendment to it, which was to move one item from the consent agenda to the regular. So actually, Council, on your documentation, you will see this item as 10D. D is in Delta. Okay. So with that being said, we've heard from our Special Projects Manager, Xavier Ross, on this matter on Monday and also at today's work session. So unless there's some specific discussion, the first thing I'd like to do is go ahead and entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
I make a motion to approve the resolution approving the purchase of 3 fleet vehicle trucks from Wade Ford for the Code Enforcement Department at $171,522 and not to exceed $175,000.
Madam Clerk, is it okay that we're out of order? Because we did move it to 12J. Is it okay? If it's okay, I'm sorry then.
That's fine. I just have to rearrange the software, but.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier, because I didn't want to.
12J.
Yes. I didn't want to renumber or re-letter all of these, so I was like, I'll just handle this first.
I'm okay with it. I mean,
Okay.
we can do that.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, do we,
I'll second.
thank you. Motion's been made and duly seconded. Any discussion on this matter? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and call the question. All those in favor of consideration and approval of this resolution to purchase 3 fleet vehicles, trucks from Wade Ford for Code Enforcement Department, not to exceed $175,000, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. Thank you. Next item of business is, what you'll see, council, is item 12A, which is our first read on the ordinance creating Chapter 12 Solid Waste Management for the City of Mableton Code of Ordinances. Establish procedures for the collection, disposal, and recycling of solid waste and for other lawful purposes. The long and the short of this is our first read of an ordinance that establishes a waste disposal program, if you will, in the sense of an ordinance for the city. I know this has been of a lot of discussion from the beginning of forming a new city, and I want to just take a moment and just give an overview on this, if you are in attendance, and hopefully the council has read this ordinance already. Basically, this ordinance is taken after taking a look at a lot of different cities and how they are handling their solid waste management services. This ordinance attempts to solve some immediate concerns that the residents in the city of Mableton has had, and I'll give you a highlight on a couple of those. First of all, what this ordinance does is it does establish that litter is illegal in the city of Mableton. It furthermore goes on to say that we will enter into what's called open franchises. In layman's terms, is basically meaning that we're going to set up a system where we have oversight of, and local waste vendors will actually register with the city to be able to offer solid waste and recycling services in the city. To do so, they basically sign up with the city, will ensure that they are certified, which means they get a decal. They're checked to make sure that they are using adequate vehicles. We don't want to make sure we don't have people in pickup trucks and rented U-Haul trailers hauling trash around. Numerous different aspects of this, but there's basically what equates to a yearly contract. And on top of that, they're assessed a fee. We cover this from commercial and both residences. It does establish that on top of litter being illegal, obviously dumping and all the other likes that go along with that. The fee that is collected from those solid waste vendors will come to the city in the form of a fee that will be collected on a quarterly basis. There's an environmental fee that we are going to assess. Part of this is the oversight that we want to have of these companies. Currently, right now, we're calling this a new service. It will be a new service for the city of Mableton, but it is not a transitional service. As you know, the county does not regulate trash in this way. There's been issues over the years with how it's been regulated or lack of regulation. But I can be very clear with this, is that this is not a situation where we're bringing in one vendor to take over the trash services for the city. Every resident will still have an opportunity to choose whatever trash company they like, as long as it is on the approved vendor list. How do you get on an approved vendor list? Well, any vendor that wants to do business with the city of Mableton is open to register with the city to be able to provide trash services. There will be some inspection, but again, that's around to make sure that their operations can lead to adequate service, so that we will have hopefully improved, better service than what we currently have right now. In the creation of this ordinance, again, we looked at many different cities and how they handled it. There are several cities that use a model very similar to this. Milton is one. I think Johns Creek is another, maybe Appreciate Corners. But we've modeled this off of several of those cities that's been proven to have a very good procedures in where they do. Also with residents that seem to like those services a lot. Becoming mayor, I get calls almost on a weekly basis on someone that's not happy about their trash service. That may be because someone didn't pick up the trash service that week. It could be because trash was strode all up the road as they left out, or disputes over billing. I've heard cases of people being charged twice as much in some neighborhoods, and other neighborhoods where maybe the HOA has a little more power, that cost has been reduced heavily. We're not going to get in the business of regulating necessary prices, but we do want a partnership with the trash haulers to let them know that we're here, there is a level of oversight. With that said, we've been working with the Cobb Haulers Association with this ordinance to make sure that they've had input. Over the next month or so as we go through this process, we'll make sure there's more input from it, because what we know is, as staff and as mayor and council, I don't think any of us are trash professionals. So it was important, it was definitely important that we reach out to them. Councilwoman Auk and I have actually been to some of the meetings, or a specific meeting early this year?
It's August 19th, 2023.
Last year.
It's been a while.
Yeah. But I've been in touch with Brian Warren, who was the president of the organization as recently as 2 days ago. He spent most of last week reviewing it and a good part of the weekend. This is the first read, so there will be some updates made to this. If you were here for our earlier work session, I spoke about a public hearing that I want to have specifically for this. We'll work through with staff to make sure we get the right dates on that. I proposed January 7th, which will be the first meeting of the year that we will have, and then go forth, I think, with that next ensuing meeting, which would be January 22nd for the second reading of this. So to be clear, we want to introduce it tonight and put it on record in ordinance. We will spend the next 2 weeks taking feedback. We will then have a public hearing. We will then take the next 2 weeks to incorporate public hearing, and then on January 22nd, the plan is that we will hopefully be able to adopt this and officially have an ordinance on the books that relates to sanitation and litter. So with that being said, we're not voting on anything tonight, but I want to open up the floor to the council if there's any comments, questions, or things you just want to add at this point. And I'll obviously to our city attorney, I see she's busy over there and there's things going back and forth. I know she's been busy working on some other items for us. If you have not read this ordinance, and there will, I'll put it out there right now, there will be some changes to this. There's no doubt, right? As we continue to get feedback, we continue to work through this, there will be changes. Council, as you have proposed changes you would like to make, I would suggest either, in my purview, I'd like to go back and edit the document so everyone can see what's going on with it and what's happening in real time. And also our attorney to make sure that she's able to see those proposed updates. I'm also assuming that over the next couple of weeks we will have some input from our residents as well. So the bottom line is I don't want to rush this process. We haven't rushed it to get this far. So I want to make sure there's plenty of time for feedback to come in, and again, with the public hearing before we go forth in over a month from now to actually approve it. Madam
Yes,
Attorney,
Mayor,
the floor
thank
is
you.
yours.
And council members, if you have any updates that you want me to supplement the ordinance with, if you can just provide it to me, I'll incorporate anything that you provide, and if there's a dispute, then obviously I'll reserve that for council decision at the meeting. And if there's no dispute, then I'll incorporate your comments and feedback.
We did have something come up in our work session. We've already discussed this ordinance already. We had a kind of a legal question, I guess, on, it's on page 12. Item 4 on the top of the page. Oh.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes, what this subsection does is it prohibits more than 50% of the residential service fee from being passed on to the customer.
Is it enforceable or even legal to kind of stipulate how much they can charge or raise their prices to to cover the cost that they're incurring from a rise in fees to them?
So you can definitely stipulate a percentage that the company has to pay. So what this is doing here is it's just limiting, or it's prohibiting the company from putting that entire fee on the residents. So what this says is that we're charging you this fee, but you have to share this cost. It's not something that you can just pass 100% to residents. I've seen this in multiple jurisdictions, and I'm not aware of anyone who has disputed or challenged it, and I don't know anything legally that would prohibit you from doing that. Without that being seen and without any court case or any law that says otherwise, I would say that you can prevent them from passing the entire fee to residents.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir.
if I may, just for clarification, and I think the question that was asked earlier, it may have came across that I guess it was presented that we could restrict how much they could raise the price, or?
No, it's
well, that was the
that
discussion.
environmental fee.
Right.
The question is, can we dictate how much of that is passed on?
Right. We discussed it earlier. I think we were in the frame of mind of we were going to restrict them raising it. So I think when she explains it, the restriction is they could raise it as high as they want. Then you can't stop them from setting the price, but they have to take 50% of that and as a company keeping it. So that is framing it differently. For example, if I'm a trash company and I want to raise my prices from $5 to $200. I don't know if there's no law that you can stop a trash company from raising their price from $5 to $200. I don't think that's legal, and I think we were talking about that. But this makes it clear that that's not the restriction. The restriction is if you go to $200, then you are requiring that the company pick up 50% of that cost.
Yes, right.
And again, our goal is to make sure that they don't pass along 100% of that cost. Okay.
I have a quick question on section 12.2.4 dealing with disposal facility fees. So it's saying in the first, in number 1, that there'll be a surcharge of $1 per ton of residential solid waste or commercial waste. So the city of Mableton, I don't believe has a place, a disposal facility, right, at this point, right? And I was curious as to whether that type of surcharge is charged at other disposal facilities. No, right?
So this particular charge came from the city of Johns Creek. So this is identical to what the city of Johns Creek has. So I know at a minimum, it's consistent with Johns Creek. If you don't have any disposal facility currently that fits this definition, it just wouldn't apply to anyone. And then if you do ultimately get a disposal facility that fits that definition, they would have an obligation to start making those payments to the city.
Okay, just out of curiosity though, can a waste management company go outside of Mableton to dispose of their waste, right?
So there's so many environmental state regulations, I'm not 100% positive. So the question is, can they, I know that you cannot dispose in Mableton without permission from the city. I would imagine that most cities have that restriction, but I could fathom a situation where if there's no local regulation on it, and it's not prohibited in any other, county restriction in an unincorporated area, that they could technically go into the city without the city's permission.
Okay, yeah, because I was just curious as to whether if we charge a fee, should we have a facility and others outside don't, would it not incentivize our waste management companies to go outside of Mableton to?
I was directly involved with the Cobb County Transfer Station. There was a complaint from citizens that the line off of County Services Road was way too long. People were backing the roads all the way back up to Austell. And when we did a little research, what we found out is exactly what you said. Douglas County and Paulding County, it was cheaper to come here and dump in Cobb. So I was part of the team that decided we passed the ordinance that for Cobb County residents, you had to show a driver's license. If you can prove residency, you got the regular rate. But for all out-of-county residents, you had a minimum of, I think it was $40 and plus tons. So we increased the rate for out-of-county residents. So if you have such a fee, and if we had a transfer station, which we don't, but if you had a fee and you had a transfer station, you wouldn't want to penalize your own citizens, but you definitely want to make people who don't spend money in our city pay for taxes, and they're going to bring their trash here. I would recommend we make sure they pay a little bit more than our citizens, a lot more.
Mr. Manager, this question is for you. For the environmental management fee, is it typical or expected that we'll have like a designated fund to ensure that those fees are used for landfill reduction, litter prevention, programming, improvement to solid waste management?
So when we talk about legal accounting standards, which you have to go by what the state says, an enterprise fund itself has restrictions. This would not be an enterprise fund. This is a fee. However, these fees will go our general fund, but we have made it clear the fees are to cover the cost of us regulating, managing, and oversight of the haulers. For example, if we have to penalize somebody because they're violating our standards, or someone wants to come in and be abusive to our citizens, we would have the wherewithal to penalize and take action. Also, we are saying that part of our sustainability, waste, and beautification department will make efforts for beautification efforts, environmentally sustainability efforts, green efforts. So we don't have an enterprise fund, but that is the intention of us assessing environmental fees so that we could reinvest money into the city of Mableton for those purposes. You got staff that's in there. I mean, you can debate where is that going for that staff, but no, ma'am, unless we establish an enterprise fund, it is not restricted. But I can tell you the intent from what I'm hearing, at least what we already have in the pay and class plan. We have a sustainability, waste, and beautification department that will focus, and it will obviously be funded from the general fund. So it can be said that those funds will do that. And that's also one of the services you all decided to establish too. But no, ma'am, it would not be restricted. It's not an enterprise fund.
Did a feasibility study state would be an enterprise fund? Just put was study. I know it doesn't matter, but
no, ma'am. I don't recall. I could look it up and follow up with you, but I don't think the feasibility study addressed an enterprise fund.
And if I could actually report back on this a little bit later, because there was a recent House bill that was adopted with the last legislative session that placed a limitation on fees that are collected, and I would need to verify that this wouldn't fall under that. Because if it falls under it, then we would be restricted to the fees being used for something that's reasonably related to the purpose. But I can let the council know exclusively if you just let me peek at that House bill.
Mr. Tanks, okay, you mentioned about sustainability and recycling, and I noticed that we have in section 12.3.7 for our mandatory offer of recycling services that the minimum would be newspaper and aluminum. Can we expand that?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Hazardous too, hazardous waste. That says minimum. Paper and aluminum, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't have it directly in front of me. I think that's the services that the haulers must offer. I think that's a service.
Right.
Yeah, they must at a minimum.
So we're going to have a separate
Yes, so part of our sustainability or some of our beautification efforts would be occasionally we may decide to use funds for partners that want to offer recycling opportunity for our citizens. For example, our director may say, hey, I want to do a hazardous waste recycling or an electronic recycling, and there's a cost to that, because we have to get the dumpsters and have the companies do that, and we could set it up at a certain location, advertise it, and have people come out. So I don't think this restricts us. That's a minimum, but it doesn't restrict us as for beautification efforts. We're going beyond that and doing what I call dedicated recycling efforts on certain identified recyclables.
Mr. Manager, let me chime in here as to why this specifically is in here the way that it is. The goal here is that we don't make it too restrictive, because we want to make sure we protect small haulers. And if we get very prescriptive about, at a minimum, they have to provide recycling for all these types of recycling, every additional item you require, that now raises the burden for those small haulers. And the concern that I have with that is if we get too prescriptive with this, it's either going to be too cost prohibitive, or they just simply will not be able to do it, and that could potentially put them out of business. And so we want to make sure that as we're looking at these things, our minimum, we may aspire to have higher recycling goals, and I can tell you we absolutely do, but we have to ensure that at our minimum, all of our haulers the current haulers that are operating right now, to be mindful of them, to make sure that, these minimum mandatory recycling services they can perform.
I definitely understand about the other things that Mr. Hanks mentioned, but I was just curious if we could at least expand it to plastic. Do you think that would be cost prohibitive for the small haulers to at least include that as a third?
I think that's something that we should discuss, and as we're working with them, put that on the list to make sure.
And it is worth pointing out, not many people are well versed about the recycling challenge we have in our country. Since China stopped taking recycling, it has become very expensive for haulers to provide hauling. I think the way our ordinance is written, they must offer it. We don't tell them what price they can offer it at, and the citizens can take it. So, to the mayor's point, there are a lot of haulers that are really getting out of the recycling businesses and hoping that municipalities take it over. Like, you got transportation. Cobb County just did a new recycling up there off of county services. Roswell has one. Powder Springs has one. Cities are starting to at least offer the citizens an option, and then try to take certain streams of recyclables, and then if they can, resell them themselves. But the market has been bad, and so I agree with the mayor that if we want our haulers to be successful and not be too, set a minimum standard if they want to do more, but haulers are getting away from recycling, or they're becoming very expensive. It's becoming to where now if the cities don't pick up some of that and try to handle some of what we would do with some of our some of our environmental fees, and we can offer some recycling opportunities through then there may not be a lot of recycling done, and you could run, as the mayor said, some haulers, small haulers just couldn't keep up. What are they going to do with the recycling? Nobody's buying it. Especially, it's got to be extra clean now. There's so many restrictions on it.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments? I do want to make note that we've tried to take a nod towards not only this being an open franchise where we ensure that people are able to select their trash hauler, that trash haulers are open to come in and register with the city, but also we take a look at being environmentally friendly and things that we can do. We're looking at ways to not only through recycling, but also provisions in there that trash haulers could potentially save money if they move towards more alternative fuels. There's potential reduction in fees along with that, as well as the overall goal is to improve the quality of life in the city of Mableton by initiating this plan. Our goal with this, I don't think from the very beginning, was not to bring in a large trash hauler. Not to say that some of those will not register. I'm sure some of them will. But that's a far cry from having a single vendor that will come in and eliminate the choice. I think we've heard tonight during our public comment as to why this is very important. And if it takes a elementary school child to see that we've got a problem in the city, then we all should see. Right, so I'm happy that this is on the books now. We've been able to have our first read. I'll look forward to the comments and feedback that we get, suggestions that we get, and we prepare to put some of this together to go into the public hearing on the 7th. All right, let's move on. Council will go to item 12B, which is approval for the Safe Built contract for community development services. Mr. Manager, and this is your item. I know we've spoken with Safe Built in the past. They're a willing partner, or they want to be a willing partner, I guess I should say, with the city. So I see Paul's in the house. Welcome, sir. At this point in time, Mr. Manager, you have anything? Or
Yes, sir. As our city sits to establish the 3 services that we've targeted, I guess I can publicly announce this, that it's not official until it comes from the council.
It's not official, but
our target date is March 1st to have services established. So we're gearing up and you heard us talk about trucks tonight. We're hiring staff. We're getting buildings built out. And we anticipate that we may not have accurately gauged how much we need or in terms of staffing for maybe building inspections or even code enforcement officers. Safe Built has drafted us a contract to help with our city attorney that would allow them to come in on a a la carte basis and say, hey, I got to have 2 more code enforcement officers until I can get staff there, and they would provide that service. Or I may need somebody to come in with ICC or building certifications to do some inspections for us, and they would provide that service. So I will yield the floor to Paul and Casey from Safe Built to kind of talk about how they can help us as we begin to get services going.
Yeah. So we provide community development and building department inspections in Powder Springs. We supplement Ackworth. We also do it in Douglasville, Union City, East Point, many of the cities around the South. Our office is located in Tyrone. We provide services such as Mr. Tank said, code enforcement, building inspections, plan reviews. We also have a planning division that does remote work. We gave you basically an a la carte menu, as Mr. Tank said. If you choose that you want to use that or you see a need for that, you can reach out to us and we'll put you in touch with the people that can provide all of those services for you. And that's just up to Mr. Tanks as to what he prefers to look at. Any questions?
so this contract, as you mentioned, is an a la carte contract. And first of all, thank you, Paul, for coming.
Yes, sir.
And offering your services to us. This, the contract being a la carte, do we have, is this more like staff augmentation? So there is no defined work plan currently right now, right?
That's right, Mr. Mayor. I think we talked earlier that right now we have staff 4 code enforcement officers, 2 positions for builders that we'll be looking, especially now that we have appointed a code enforcement director, we'll get them to build up staff. And then once we turn the button on assumed services, which again, my target date is March 1st, if all of a sudden I'm getting reports back that, hey, we got a backlog on building inspections, or we have a backlog on a couple code enforcement complaints, I can see that trend moving, call Hardy and say, hey man, I need to get me 2 on deck. And I believe, and Paul explained, when he brings a couple code enforcement officers to our city, they also bring their vehicles with them.
Great. They're a force multiplier.
Yes, sir. We'll go from 4 to 6, and from 3 trucks to 5.
Yes, sir.
Indeed. All right, council, any questions of Safe Built? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming this evening. With that being said, I'd like to go ahead and move that, or entertain a motion to approve of the Safe Built contract for community development services.
And can the approval be in substantial form so that we do have flexibility in case there are minor changes requested by either party or within execution to be able to make those changes without coming back to council?
I'm fine with that. Motion?
So if the motion is made, the request would be just approval in substantial form.
I'd like to make a motion for consideration and approval of Safe Build contract for community development services in substantial form.
I second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and duly seconded. All those in favor of approval of Safe Built contract for community development services in substantial form, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. Thank you. Item 12C has been struck per our amendment to the agenda for tonight, so we'll go to items 12D, which is consideration and approval to move funds from Piedmont Bank and to enter into an agreement with Truist. I know that this is what it says, but I'm almost certain we're not talking about moving all of our funds from Piedmont Bank. We chose Piedmont Bank at the time, Westside Bank, as a initial bank for the city, a founding partner with the city, because they were local. We felt it was important from a historic standpoint, also from a standpoint as being a new city, and ensuring that we had a banking partner that would be willing to work with us in our very early days. But it's always been the plan for the city that we diversify where our funds are. I think it's a smart business practice in general that extends out to municipalities as well, to ensure that we have additional partners in the banking world. So, Mr. Manager, this is something that I support simply because I think it's a sound practice that we have more than one banking partner. The floor is yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we've grown as a city, some of our banking needs have become a little bit more robust. And Truist has proven itself to be a ready partner to help us in treasury management. There's also a financial benefit. We'll probably get we're looking at a 2.2% interest on our checking. So we're going to earn a little bit more interest there as we were before. But again, we're not totally eliminating our Piedmont relationship. But this is allowing us to move with Truist and handle larger items. And we're looking very good financially in terms of what we have in the bank account, so we can put a decent amount into Truist and draw some interest and still maintain our operating account at Piedmont without an issue.
Thank you, sir. With that, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve moving of funds from Piedmont Bank and to enter into an agreement with Truist Bank.
I make a motion to move funds from Piedmont Bank and to enter into an agreement with Truist Bank.
I second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion, council? Questions, comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving to move funds from Piedmont Bank and to enter into an agreement with Truist Bank, please say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. Thank you. We will move forward now to item 12E. 12E is consideration and approval of a resolution recognizing and authorizing the Cobb Housing Authority to operate a turnkey program and down payment assistance program available program qualifying home purchasers in the new city of Mableton, predicated upon Cobb Housing Authority continuing to direct that fees that would otherwise accrue to the Housing Authority mortgage originated within the city limits of Mableton to be transferred to the city of Mableton. Are y'all like, you're trying to trick me tonight? What is this? All right, in layman terms, how about this? Let's start with the city of Mableton does not have a housing authority, okay? The Cobb County Housing Authority does operate a turnkey program which allows down payment assistance for qualifying residents in the city of Mableton to be able to leverage when they're buying homes. This was kind of a nod to the city that the chairman of the Cobb Housing Authority gave to us to get on board with this program, being the fact that we don't have a housing authority. I've talked before about potentially having a housing authority in the city of Mableton, as well as a housing commission. The short-term route to this was to have a housing commission, but not having a housing authority does limit us a bit in some things that we're able to provide. Having a housing authority does not mean having public housing. But what having a housing authority does allow you to do is have a seat at the table when public housing decisions or affordable housing developments are being done. I urge the council to approve this because at this point in time, I think this gives us a leg up when it comes to being able to offer Mableton residents down payment assistance, even though I think we're going to do something about that in the future ourselves. But for right now, it provides that immediately. But also, I think it's important to note that because Cobb has the housing authority right now, there are engagements and development deals that are going on that Cobb County Housing Authority is getting fees for. That because we don't have a housing authority, even though those developments are occurring in the city of Mableton, we're not collecting on any of those fees. So as part of this agreement, Cobb Housing Authority has agreed to do a revenue share with us for those deals that they currently will be doing in Cobb County, in the city of Mableton, in absence of us having a housing authority at the current moment. So, Mr. Manager, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but I do support this measure. Thank you. With that being said, I will entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
I make a motion to approve the resolution recognizing and authorizing the Cobb Housing Authority to operate a turnkey program, a down payment assistance program available to program qualifying home purchasers in the new city of Mableton, predicated upon the Cobb Housing Authority continuing to direct that fees that would otherwise accrue to Cobb Housing Authority for mortgages originated within the city limits of Mableton to be transferred to the city of Mableton.
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving
Mayor
the resolution?
and council, can I suggest a friendly amendment? Would you be able to give me authorization to just add standard legalese to the end of this? It's the legalese I put at the end of all your resolutions.
Okay, so we read this and add standard legalese.
So you don't have to restate what you just said, so the motion would be just to additionally authorize the city attorney to add legalese at the end of the resolution.
All right, add into the motion authorization for the city attorney to add standard legalese.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion on this matter? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All those in favor of approving the resolution as read by Councilwoman Oladapo, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Hearing none, the ayes have it. Thank you. This takes us down to item 12F, which is a resolution to participate in the Change versus Milton amicus contributions. Change. It says, yeah, I know, I was, yes, yes, it does, I read it as it says. Like, that's what it says, yeah, it's Ching versus Milton amicus brief.
So your computer may have auto-corrected it. Yeah, I think that's just an auto-correction with the city
In
code
the system. Okay, thank you. Madam Attorney, is there anything you want to speak on this matter before we?
No, I think the resolution speaks for itself. It's not the city's litigation, but it is a sister city, outside county city. And if the council's inclined, we'll join in by having the city listed as in support of the city of Milton's position.
Thank you. I'll simply say this, Council, you've received information about this matter, as well as as I had stated, the chair of, or the president of Georgia Municipal Association is in favor of this as well. So I'm before you this evening asking for support to participate in the Chang versus Milton amicus contributions.
Are we having a vote on this now, or is it?
Yes. Yeah, it is a resolution. That's the resolution that was sent out, correct? Yes.
I have one question. If we join the amicus brief, is that something that we're going to have to actually draft ourselves, or are we joining in on one that someone else, another city has drafted already, and we're just joining in with them?
Yeah, there is no drafting on our part. It simply would authorize me to provide my state bar number to the attorney so that he can list me as a signatory on the brief as well, on behalf of Mableton in support.
You probably have already mentioned this, but how many cities are participating?
Oh goodness, so he's been sending updates and it's been increasing per update. There's a lot. I didn't actually count the list, but I know that there's 3 categories. There's a participating category, a under consideration category. Mableton was currently listed under consideration because those are the cities that have said that they're going to bring it to the council for council consideration. We think we'll get approval, but it's ultimately up to the council, so there's a category for those. And then there's a category for already approved. So there's a good number. If I had to guess, just based on my memory of looking at it, I would say about 30-ish, 25 to 30 have approved. But again, as people approve, they're going to get sent over to that approved list. So you, assuming that you approve, will also be one of those cities that moves over from the pending list to the approved list.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
I'd like to entertain a motion to participate in the Chang versus Milton amicus contributions.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Any further comments? Discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving a resolution to participate in the Chang versus Milton amicus contributions, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. Thank you. We're going to move to item 12G. 12G is consideration and approval of a resolution amending the established city holiday schedule for 2024 to add December 31st, New Year's Eve. I'm assuming that's as a day off for staff. Is this resolution, I have to go back and look, this resolution is about amending this year's calendar. It doesn't speak to next year's calendar, but so it's talking to about New Year's Eve of this year. Madam Clerk, do you know if that's, if this is considered an additional holiday that we had? So we had, this is not an exchange of any other floating holiday. This was an additional day, correct?
Yes. Councilmember Ferguson wanted to add New Year's Eve. We only had New Year's Day in the resolution.
Right.
So, and it's just for this year because we've already passed one for 2025 and it's not on that one, so.
Right. So, I don't know. I would.
Ask a question. Is that the last day for business licensing for them to renew?
Mr. Ferguson may be able to speak. I think he's a sponsor.
Okay, there was a question that Councilwoman Alk has. Is this the last day for business licenses for the city?
For renewal, is that the deadline?
It's not the deadline. The deadline goes all the way to March. Right.
I don't know that it's a deadline date for anything that we have.
Where is that coming from?
It's back there. It's Councilman Ferguson. Yeah, thank you, Councilman. We did hear you for that. So I think the concern is that someone may incur some fees or something if they miss the end of the year. That won't be the case.
I want us to be clear, and we should look that up. People are saying it's not the deadline. We started doing fines and fees. Late fees start January 1st unless you extend it.
Wait, no, on business licensing? Yeah, I thought it was the 31st.
We did
No,
extend
late
it to
fees for
March.
business, so business licensing, your license will expire on the 31st.
Okay.
However, your Payment is due on January 1st, but you have until the 30th to make the payment. So it's kind of like a water bill or a utility bill. You get the bill, it says this outstanding amount is due, you have until the 30th to make a payment. If you do not make that payment by the 30th, then during the month of February, you'll accumulate a 1.5% interest penalty. And if you do not make the payment for another month, then each continuing month, you'll also generate a 10% penalty on top of that 1.5% penalty.
Understood. Didn't we extend in our work session, didn't we extend the penalty date to March?
We have not technically yet.
Okay, it was just discussion,
Yeah,
got
we
it.
discussed it, we technically haven't yet, so I don't think there's going to be any concern with that. My only matter relates to this is if there's a way that right now we could add December 31st of 2025, so we don't come back with the same thing again. I mean, I'm fine if we have to.
Which one is this?
But if there's a way we could add that and modify next year's calendar or 2025 calendar.
But we've already passed 2025.
That would be an amendment to that 2025 calendar.
Yes.
Yeah. Have to amend 2025 resolution.
Yeah, I agree.
That would be another resolution.
Okay, I was just trying to get some efficiencies here, because we'll come back and I'm quite certain do the same thing for 2025. But we'll do that, that's fine.
But it's noted to include it in the document that we come back.
Okay.
Yes. Well, for the 2025, when you get the 2026 calendar.
No, 2025 calendar, because this is modifying 2024.
Yeah, they did this one this last January.
Oh, it's only through.
Yes, it's calendar.
Oh, I get what you're saying, Mayor. But
So
yeah,
I was-
we would need, I can amend the resolution if you give me authority after the fact.
Could we just take the year off?
You talking about for this specific amendment? I guess we could, but I'm asking our attorney and clerk, procedurally and from an administrative standpoint, if we could just update both resolutions, because they're two different resolutions.
If I may, and I'm not a clerk or an attorney, but you have two different things. You have a calendar, and then y'all have approved holidays for, right, so you have approved holidays. So if you approve your holidays, that automatically feeds your calendar.
Right, and so, but this motion does say for the calendar. It specifically establishes a city holiday. December 31st will be a city holiday, basically.
Yeah, the city
For 2024.
Yes, so I'm asking, can we do the same thing for 2025?
Or just amend city-approved holidays to include December 31st. So we have a...
Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying, but the only reason I'm asking is because it's approval of a resolution amending, and if we're amending a resolution, if there's two different resolutions, if this one motion could cover both resolutions, because those are two different resolutions, correct? There's 2024 calendar, 2025 calendar, it's two different resolutions.
I've experienced from other cities is sometimes they do give you that extra day and sometimes they don't. It depends on when it falls and what's going on. And
right.
You have your main holidays, but occasionally the council votes for an extra, which this year Councilmember Ferguson wanted to give us the extra, but next year you may not want to. It depends on what's going on.
But and again, to your
If you
point...
want to give it forever and ever.
It's why I'm bringing it up, and the council gets an opportunity to vote on it.
Right. So, Mayor, to your question, and I don't mind being corrected, there's two things. If you're amending a calendar year, that's one thing. Or you're amending 2 calendar years, that's another thing. But if you are, as a council, decide that you are including and approved city holidays, New Year's Eve, then that will automatically just repeat every calendar year. You just put it in your calendar. But see, right now, we have approved holidays. As y'all give us a list of holidays, when I'm an employee, I look at the benefits. I see which holidays we get, plus we have a floating holiday. That's going to recycle every year. So you all, if you wanted to make it perpetuity, yeah.
We do the resolution every year.
Right.
In October and November.
I wasn't asking in
can fix it.
perpetuity.
Well, I would probably say do it year by year because
Yeah,
some of these
I'm not asking
dates,
perpetuity.
like
just
for
clarity.
example, July 4th, if it falls on a Saturday, you may give the Friday off.
Right.
So it allows you to go year by year to see if there's any adjustments that you want to do.
Yeah. So Councilman Ferguson's asked for 24. Since we've already done 25, I've asked for 25. So it's 24 and 25. This
And I
year,
just put
I
it
don't
on
see
the
25 on
January.
the agenda, though. So you're saying to
amend this
amend the
motion
agenda to include a resolution that spoke to 2025?
to amend this motion.
Well, we would have to, so you can do that, but it would just, the onus would be on the clerk to make sure that, because she lists the dates, and there's no dates listed for 25. So she would have to go through 25 and make sure that she matches up all the dates. And then if you do it now without you looking at the dates, there may be dates that you don't want that to be the actual holiday.
Haven't we already approved the
We've already
2025?
approved 2025.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Why can't I just bring an amendment in our first meeting of January?
That's absolutely fine.
for
I
that
said
one?
this is for
Because we voted on
efficiency.
this in last January.
I said for efficiency, trying to kill two birds at one stone, because I know there's two different amendments that we've already approved. We've already
So
approved
let's do
25.
this. When we get to the attorney comments by then, I can get Susan to give me the resolution number, and then if you can approve an amendment to resolution so-and-so to give me the to give us the authorization to do that, I think, and then you wouldn't have to bring it back next meeting if we specifically identify the resolution that you're going to be amending.
Okay. So what do we do for now? Do you want to table this? You want to take this as is, and then we, but we don't have another item on the agenda to, you want to?
Yeah, I can bring it up during my comments, and then I'll have the resolution number by then as well.
So we can approve this as is right now?
Correct.
Okay. It doesn't seem like it was very efficient anymore. I tried. All right. So at this point in time, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion for approval of the resolution.
I motion to approve the resolution amending the established city holiday schedule for 2024 to add December 31st, 2024, New Year's Eve.
Thank you. Have a second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor of approval for the resolution amending the established city holiday schedule of 2024 to add December 31st, 2024, New Year's Eve, please say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing no nays, the ayes have it. Thank you. Kind of think the city manager is trying to protect his productivity working. I'm not sure. All right, council, this takes us to items 12H, which is consideration and approval authorizing the mayor to negotiate and enter into an agreement with the company Network Cabling Infrastructure, LLC, NCI, for AV installation at 1245 Memorial Highway. And this is an item brought forth by our Special Projects Manager, Xavier Ross. We did talk about this during Monday's work session, where Chad Kastner was here as well. At this point in time, I'm going to move forward and ask that I entertain a motion to approve, and we can have discussion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve, to authorize the mayor to negotiate and enter into agreement with company Network Cabling Infrastructures, LLC, NCI, for AV installation at 1245 Veterans Memorial Highway.
I second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Do we want to add the cost we talked about on Monday to the resolution? Is there a reason we left that out?
And if so, you can make
So the rationale behind the
Screen and stuff.
Oh, I wouldn't. Mr. Manager, you have something?
Yes, sir, I was going to let it go up, but I think we discussed the cost. Xavier break the cost down, but it should be in there. We did have the cost discussed in. I don't know why it's not in there with my answer.
I think this, looking back, Mr. Ross, the language here does, I think the councilman's point does not have like, a cost to exceed X amount of dollars.
Right, it doesn't. So the language should read for the resolution not to exceed $145,000. And that is the entire package for 1245.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, they didn't even approve an agreement. It's just giving you the ability to negotiate with all the.
Would you like a new motion? Okay. I make a motion to approve and authorize the mayor to negotiate and enter into an agreement with the company Network Cabling Infrastructures, LLC, for AV installation at 1245 Veterans Memorial Highway, not to exceed $145,000.
I second.
Thank you. The motion's been made and duly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approval to authorize the mayor to negotiate and enter into an agreement with the company Network Cabling Infrastructures, LLC, for AV installation at 1245 Veterans Memorial Highway, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. We'll move forward to the last item of new business we have for tonight, which is item 12I, which is the consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing the city manager and mayor to execute an agreement with Lake Lanier Island and conference vendors for the associated spending as it relates to the 2025 Spring Planning Conference for $22,500. I'd like to entertain a motion for approval of this resolution.
The Civic Plus portal.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of resolution authorizing the city manager and mayor to execute an agreement with Lake Lanier Island and conference vendors for the associated spending as it relates to the 2025 Spring Planning Conference in the amount of $22,500.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the resolution authorizing the city manager and mayor to execute an agreement with Lake Lanier Island and conference vendors for the associated spending as it relates to 2025 planning conference, $22,500, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Thank you, Councilman Ferguson. You've been noted. The ayes have it. Ladies and gentlemen, that takes us to the end of our new business. I don't think that we have any other business in front of us at this point in time. Looking at the city manager, he's not giving me thumbs up, so.
No, sir, we don't. I will when it's time for city manager's comments.
Thank you, sir. And that is that time. Mr. Manager, comments, announcements you may have.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, thank you. For one, I wanted to give a kudos to our city attorney, Miss Amelia Ashby Walker. I don't know if people know, she's probably been running on fumes for the last week. I mean,
yes, indeed.
Just getting the grind in, getting things that are done which are nearly impossible, going to courts and judges and getting certain things done, working on URA items for us. It was stressful. Touch and go, but I think she came in today and said we got it done. So I wanted to say publicly thank you to her for that.
Thank you.
I also want to give out a kudos to Mr. Alejandro Farrell. I know he left, but congratulations to him being our code enforcement director. I'm glad how he embraced the young lady that may want to work for us, but anyway, glad that we got a code enforcement director. We're getting closer now to getting our services established, a safety of contract. And then kudos to Xavier, our special projects manager. I kind of threw him in the water with some heavy projects, some trucks, planning conference, and some other things, and he rose to the occasion. So more work, the reward for good work is more work. And then last but not least, I want to elaborate, I want to talk about we need to go and executive session for personnel. But last but not least, you heard Mr. Trey Hutchinson talk about a 4P starting here in Mableton. The council may not be aware of this. This is something I'm actually volunteering to do for our city. And that is a program where we're going to pull in the city of Mableton, and Xavier's got this project too. So we're going to pull together the principals, which Trey Hutchins will arrange, the pastors, which Pastor Carrick from Faith Christian Center will arrange, partners, which we're probably going to grab someone like Nick or just community partners, and then of course public safety. And us as the city of Mableton, we as the city manager of Mableton, I'll make sure that we bring those folks together for the sole purpose of supporting each other. Just supporting our schools. You know, if they got something going on in schools, we're going to ask the public safety, the pastors, and city to show up and support. If the city's doing something, we're going to ask them to show up and support. If our public safety is doing a national night out, we're going to ask each other to show up and support. And then if our pastors are doing something in the community, like a back-to-school backpack program, we're going to start supporting each other instead of everybody operating in isolation. So we call that the 4 Ps, and it's something way to pull the Mableton community together. And I asked Xavier to get those 4 components to start bringing together. We'll probably meet once a quarter. Council members will always be invited to come and speak, but we're going to get that those 4 pillars. Your pastors, your principals, your public safety, and then your public services or your public community, your government, and your nonprofits. Pull together and just be supportive of each other in Mableton. So we're excited about that. We'll keep you posted. We'll probably make the mayor, he'll be a spokesperson or something like that. We'll put him in front of these folks, fire them up, and then we'll get to work. And yes, Mayor, I would like to recommend we go into executive session for personnel to this.
Noted. Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, do you have anything for us this evening?
I have no comments.
Thank you. Madam Attorney.
Yes, Mayor. I do have one comment to accommodate your request earlier, and I've provided a motion to a council member if they're so inclined.
Thank you. Yes, please, go ahead.
All right. I make a motion to authorize the city attorney and clerk to modify Resolution 2024-0902 to include December 31st, 2025 as an official city holiday.
Second.
Thank you. The motion's been made and seconded.
Say state holiday?
Could you repeat that, please?
You said state holiday?
City holiday. Did you hear state?
Yes.
All right, she's going to restate that, Councilman.
Okay. I make a motion that we authorize the city attorney and clerk to modify the resolution 2024-0902 to include December 31st, 2025 as an official city holiday.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor that we authorize the city attorney and clerk to modify the resolution 24-09-02 to include December 31st, 2025 as an official city holiday. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. Thank you. Madam Attorney, any other comments?
No, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Davis?
Yeah, quickly, and I know they're gone, but I wanted to give kudos again to Mr. Cobb and the Austin Community Task Force for the job they did with their toy distribution, Toys for Tots, at the South Cobb Recreation Center on this weekend. I was there. It went smoothly. About 250 families were served, and they do it every year. It was very cold out there, but they did a great job. So kudos to them. And kudos again, Trey Hutchins. I just want to say kudos to you and Pebblebrook. I was really impressed by what I saw yesterday. It took me back to my old high school days with the play and the orchestra and that kind of thing. And it made me really realize, too, how valuable our teachers are. And I can say this as a matter of fact, it was my 9th grade science teacher, Mr. Emmanuel Reeves, that lit a fire under me. And I would not be the man I am today had it not been for a teacher that motivated me to be the kind of man I am. So just kudos to you, to Pebblebrook and all that you do, Trey, because it's a wonderful, wonderful school. I think it's really not recognized as much as it should be. But, you know, you guys are doing an outstanding job, so I had to say that. So with that being said, keep up the good work. Just keep up the good work.
Thank you. Councilman Oladapo.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. It's been a very busy couple of days, hasn't it? But I just wanted to quickly, I know Mr. Farrell left, but just welcome to the team. We're so happy to have you here and very excited for all the great work that you will continue to do. And also just want to really give kudos to our staff, the city manager, city clerk, our city attorney, HR director, the special projects managers, everybody for all of the hard work that you've done, and you know, the mayor and the city council as well, and driving all of our goals and the objectives that we set out to the finish line. We're doing a lot of hiring, you know, standing up services, purchasing vehicles. I am so impressed as we wrap up this year, and I think we've done an amazing job so far with what we're given. So I just wanted to give a, you know, special shout out to all of you. And also, I know this is the last meeting of the year. Wish you all a very happy and joyous holiday season, and I can't wait to see all the great things that are in store for us next year. It was great seeing all of you tonight. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. I know it's pretty chilly outside, so we just appreciate you coming to our last city council meeting. This year has been amazing. It's been challenging, but we've been able to accomplish so much, as Councilwoman Oladapo mentioned. All of the wonderful milestones. When we think back to last year around this time, it was only the mayor, city council, and a few staff members. And then, you know, look at us now. I mean, we nearly doubled. And so I'm just so grateful for everyone who is a part of this city, including our community partners, but more importantly, everyone who has decided, you know, all hands are on deck, and everyone's really excited about getting this city off to a great start. The employees, just attitude-wise, you know, everybody just wants to do great work and a great job. When we had our fall planning session, our city manager actually went through all of the things we accomplished each month, and I just couldn't believe how much it was. And so we're positioned in a great place, and just looking forward to all the things we're going to be able to accomplish for next year. I do want to piggyback off of what Councilman Davis said about the Power and Partnership brunch that was held yesterday I can't get my days mixed up, by Pebblebrook. You know, I have an affinity for the arts, much like you. High school, I did it all, and to see the dancers and the choir and the string ensemble, it was just wonderful. And so, you know, I know Pebblebrook High School is in my district, by the way. And so we need to do more together. There's power in partnership. It's a shared responsibility there. And I just look forward to the great work we're going to be able to do. A couple months ago, the medically vulnerable students actually came here to our interim city hall, and we were able to, you know, meet with them. And so I hope that we will continue to have more of those opportunities to partner together. And then I want to talk about our community planning meeting we had yesterday. Just kudos to Juliana and our city manager. The turnout I mean, they said it was about 120 some odd folks that came out in the rain, and, you know, they provided, you know, an input in terms of what's going to happen, Mr. Funny and his team. So it was just great to see everyone come out, and just thankful to see what we're going to do in the months to come, in the years to come, as it relates to our Comp 2045 plan. And so I do want to say happy holidays. I know I'm a little long-winded. I do want to take a picture as well, like we did last year. Yeah, last meeting of the year. Yeah, let's take a pic. All right. Have a good evening.
Councilwoman Ogg.
Good evening, everyone. You all know I like to keep it short and sweet. I have just a couple things. First is, of course, congratulations to Alejandro Farrell, our new code enforcement director. I also want to give some kudos to our special project manager, Xavier Ross. A lot of the special projects he has been working on has actually been for me in my district, and I am very appreciative of it. And I also want to let you guys know what it is he's doing, because I think you guys will appreciate it too. One of the projects was working on a grant, or applying for a grant with Foodwell Alliance for the city agriculture plan. That's an amount of $75,000. We haven't been awarded it yet, but we're hopeful, and we will know in January. And if we get that grant, we have some really exciting ideas we look forward to sharing with you all. Another project that he has worked on is, if you recall, Hurricane Helene went and did a little bit of damage within Cobb County and near the river, particularly Nickajack Creek, in one of our parks, Nickajack Park. A lot of debris was washed up on one of the pedestrian bridges. One of my constituents, who is a editor of Cobb County Courier, even wrote an article about it, about the debris. It was pretty awful, and Xavier really pushed hard and was really on Cobb County to make that a priority. It was a very big project. They had to get in some heavy equipment and stuff to get it cleaned up, but it is cleaned up, so if next time you're walking there and you see it looking beautiful, think of Xavier. And what else do I want to mention? You know what, it's the last meeting of the year. Just whatever holidays you celebrate, I hope it's a wonderful, safe, and blessed holiday for you. So thank you all for being here tonight, and Happy New Year.
Great. Councilman Hernan.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm going to make it very short and sweet. I want to thank those of you who came out last night in order to listen or learn about our comprehensive plan for Mableton. Mableton is really on the move, and I'm excited to see the progress that has been made, since the voters voted in the city of Mableton. So for those of you who were not able to participate, please check on our mableton.gov website. There's going to be additional dates that are coming in the future. We really would like to hear what you have in mind for Mableton and get your input and your participation. And I want to say happy holidays to everyone who's here. Have a safe holiday, and we look forward to seeing you again in 2025.
Thank you, ma'am. So as everyone else has said, thank you guys for continuing to support the city, to be involved, be engaged. Oh, Councilman Ferguson, you there?
When you just skipped over me like I wasn't even here.
I was in earnest, in due earnest, sir. We have a time commitment to get out of here before 9 o'clock. So
we both can't talk then. That's what you're trying to say?
No, the floor is yours, sir. The floor
Happy holidays to everybody that showed up, and I truly apologize for not being able to be there in person, but I didn't want to miss all the appointments and things that were going to happen in this meeting. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Councilman Ferguson. Did you text me anything to say tonight?
No, I did not.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure I didn't miss out on you, sir. Thank you. Apologize for skipping you over, though, seriously. Everyone keeps saying this is the last meeting. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm not so certain about it. So I'm going to reserve the fact of saying this is the last meeting with, as a new city, as we've all seen over 2023 and 2024, things happen, and we have to remain nimble. So while I'm not expecting, I'm going to be clear, I'm not expecting another meeting this year. It is possible. But I do want to extend a big thanks to our council and to our staff for all the work that's been done this year. I have not taken a single second to even think about the fact that this is our last meeting and not even start to quantify the amount of work and accomplishments that we've done over the course of this year. We have not hit everything that I would want to do over this year, but again, that list is long and continues to grow every single day. But by all measures, I am proud of the work we've done and have got accomplished. The accolades, some awards that we've accomplished this year, but most of all, a lot of work has gone on, and I look at the maturity that we've had, right, that we're getting, and happy now that we're getting staff on so our capacity can grow. A couple of shout outs in order. I want to give a shout out obviously to Mr. Farrell coming on as our inaugural code enforcement officer. This was a huge reason as to why we wanted to be a city. So standing this department up, I have a lot of high expectations and hopes for it, and look forward to working with him directly. It's not lost on me, but I don't think about it a lot, that every single day we are creating history here in this city. I don't think we're doing enough to capture those moments and that time, and I hope that we give more of a mind's eye to that as we go forward, for both what we're doing, the citizens and your input, and how we're truly going out and making a difference. As far as announcements, I have accepted a board position with the Cobb Community Foundation. If you guys are not familiar with the Cobb Community Foundation, please go look them up. They're a fantastic organization here within Cobb County that does a lot of work. It's a fantastic board, and I only hope that the time that I spend on that board can and will be used mainly to support nonprofits here in South Cobb. One of the reasons that I was recruited to join that was because they wanted to ensure that they had representation in South Cobb, particularly in Mableton, to be able to support our nonprofits and make sure that they had a voice on that board. So I'm happy to be going into next year as a board member with Cobb Community Foundation. I did want to make note of the event last night, speaking of history, and why we want to become a city. The Mableton 25 comp plan is probably one of the most significant things that we're going to do over this next, in 2025. Many of those of you who were there last night, thank you for attending. Those of you who were not, please try to attend the next one. But in the meantime, for those of you who are here and for those of you online, the website for the comp plan did go live yesterday. It is mableton2025.org. Again, it's mableton2025.org. Please go to that website to learn more about the initiative, but also other dates where you can get involved. And there's some takeaways last night, and I said I'm not surprised at how many people showed up. I'm just curious where we can have the next meeting, because I think that room's going to be too small. Right, I'm serious about that. And it's funny, as these things happen, it exposes limitations that we have in the city, because it's one of the largest meeting spaces we have outside of the space we're in right now to even have meetings. But unfortunately, it's kind of, I think, woefully unprepared. It doesn't meet the facilities that we need, right? The lack of AV. I know there was some issues that some people had last night even hearing, because we didn't have, there's a projector there, but there wasn't microphones and speakers. So we'll make sure that we get with our partners on that and get that fixed for next time. But we are wondering if that space is going to be big enough. But again, that speaks to it's a testament to the willingness of the people of the city to come together and ensure we have a better future. So with that being said, thank you all for an amazing year. It's not over by any means. There's still a lot of work. Xavier, a lot of work we still got to get done for the end of the year. And and our city manager is going to make sure that we continue to that momentum right into next year. But with that said, I truly do thank everybody for the work that's been done. With that, Mr. Manager, I took note of your recommendation, and Council, I'd like to entertain a motion that we go into executive session for real estate litigation and personnel.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session for litigation, personnel, and real estate.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor of going into executive session for real estate, personnel, and litigation, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Hearing no opposition, the ayes have it. Thank you. Again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. I do appreciate it. If there's another meeting between now and January 7th, I'll let you know. If not, please plan on attending our next meeting, January 7th, right here at the Riverside Epicenter at 6:30. Thank you.
I will not be
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking with us while we were in executive session. At this point in time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn executive session.
Motion to adjourn executive session.
Second.
Thank you. So moved. I'll call the question. All those in favor of adjourning executive session, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. No opposition. The ayes have it, right? TJ, we'll count him as to the affirmative. With that being said, I do not think we have any more business in front of us. Madam Attorney? Thank you. Counsel?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gents.
All right.